Hey there, math moment makers. And in particular, this particular video goes out to those math mentors out there who might be looked upon in their grade or divisional teams, maybe in their school or even in their districts to share some light or shine some light on the math teaching practices taking place in classrooms and what we can do to make more math moments for students in all of the math classrooms in our schools. Today, we're going to discuss what not to do when planning and delivering math professional development for math educators. All right, let's do this. All right there, math mentors. A few weeks ago, I reached out to district math leaders just like yourself to share those pebbles in your shoe when it came to planning and delivering mathematics professional learning with math educators. Now, the responses we received were certainly not surprising, or at least to us here at the Make Math Moments team. Don't get me wrong, these pebbles were shared in various ways, but ultimately, at the end, we heard a theme. We heard challenges such as educators focusing on memorization over conceptual understanding, or maybe skipping over that conceptual understanding and rushing to the algorithm, to the procedures. Maybe it was delivering professional learning. This would be maybe you delivering that professional learning and then not seeing any of those ideas shared, put into practice. And of course, the list goes on. We even hopped on a bunch of calls with district leads, with math mentors to discuss these math plans and really get to the root of what might be going on here. Now, ultimately, what we came to realize is that with most professional learning plans, they tend to fail because the ideas we're putting together are actually created and crafted by people just like you and me, right? Like, we're people who have already had epiphanies about why math class needs to change and how we might go about making that change. You might have even dug into books, gone to conferences. Maybe you've done online workshops. Heck, maybe you've done the online workshop that John and I have put together, and you've got all these ideas and you just want to put them into play. Now, when we mandate professional learning for a full day or even a handful of days over the school year and we try to fix this problem, we end up doing exactly what we're asking those same educators not to do in their classrooms. That's right, we rush to giving answers on how to fix their math classrooms in much the same way we rush to teaching kids steps, procedures, and algorithms. So on one side, we're telling them not to do this with their students, but yet we're doing the same thing when we rush into these PD sessions and try to fix everything and sort of just tell them, do what I say and make sure that you do this, this, and this, and then everything's going to be okay for your students. Now, how might this change our approach in our professional learning plans? Well, planning and delivering professional learning in much the same way you want your educators to plan and deliver their math lessons. That means we don't want to tell them what's wrong and how to fix it. We need to actually craft experiences for them to emerge this same learning. Now, for those of you who have spent some time in our Math Moments problem-based units, you'll notice that we always are crafting contextual experiences. We're creating a productive struggle for students to engage in real math thinking so that we can land on the big ideas, the behaviors of mathematics, so that we can emerge the strategies and the models that we, as the educator, know are going to help our students, but we didn't just tell them what they are and tell them to apply them. Now, an obvious problem here is logistics. I totally get it. I'm in a district level role where I have to plan professional learning. We only have so many days for pull-out sessions. And then the big question for you is wondering, how are we going to get to it all, right? I've got so many ideas I want to share. I want to make sure everyone's doing these things in the classroom. And even some of us take this, feel like the moral imperative, we need teachers to do these things in order to make sure that every student has an opportunity, an equitable opportunity to learn mathematics at high levels. I totally get it. But I'm hearing in the back of my mind those same educators telling me that there isn't enough time to get through all of the standards. And when I reflect on my advice for those educators, when they say, I can't get through all of the standards, what am I saying? I'm saying, okay, don't just try to skim the surface to get through it all. Let's go deeper with them in a more meaningful way. And so my question to you is exactly the same thing. You, as the math learning mentor, in your building, or maybe it's in your grade level, maybe it's in your district, or maybe it's just sharing and helping out on social media. What are you going to do to ensure that we can do deep learning with that limited amount of time so that we actually see some impact with our educators instead of just skimming the surface and telling them all the things that they're not doing and all the things that they need to be doing each and every day in the classroom? So I'm turning the table to you, and I want to hear from you in the comments. Let us know, how are you going to approach this? What is most critical for your educators, for you and your educators? Where are you going to go to try to think of what these ideas are? Maybe you need some additional support. Maybe you want to reach out to us and our team and chat with us about some of your district leadership plans and maybe some of those plans that you might be engaging with educators. We can help. We can also kind of listen to your plan and sort of think about, is this too much too fast? Are we just going to end up skimming the surface on a bunch of ideas and then teachers will just continue to go back to what it was that they were doing before? Or maybe we've hit the nail on the head. We've got this really great idea and we're ready to go deep with it. If you'd like some of that feedback, we'd love to hear from you. So first off, let us know in the comments, what's that big thing over this next school year that you want your colleagues to be focusing on with you? How are you going to help them arrive at that epiphany that there's a need for change and that it's worthwhile to spend that time making these changes? How do we make it so the change is big enough to make some sort of impact, but not too big where educators sort of just shut down and sort of go back to what they were doing? I'm super excited to hear what you have to share with us, and note that I've got a few more of these videos that are going to be really highlighted and tailored for district math mentors, or maybe it's just school-based math mentors, or even social media-based math mentors who are looking to help others in the math community shift their practice without getting educators overwhelmed or discouraged, or maybe just throwing their arms up in frustration, thinking this is going to be way too hard and not worth the while. So thanks for spending some time with me and focusing on your teaching practice and what you're going to do to help sort of pay that forward to other educators in the math education space. We'll see you next time, everybody.